My name's Ben Amiku. I'm a ambassador for Truman High School. What's your name, and then tell us a little bit about your career field as a general sense.
My name is Maria Gray. I am a Spanish medical interpreter. So I am someone who facilitates understanding between an English speaking provider and a patient that is that has a second language and is not very strong in their English, or vice versa. It could be a provider that speaks Spanish, patient that speaks English. I'm also a translator, both in the medical field and outside. So I take documents and I translate them from one language into another.
Okay, how did you get to where you are now in your career?
I have basically just kept on working. It's a career where you don't really stop learning. There's ongoing courses. For example, Children's Mercy Hospitals has a continuing education program where they have all kinds of, you name it. There's like specific vocab lessons. Sometimes we dive deep into like more scientific and medical explanation of things. Just you have to keep up with the times and keep up with the vocabulary. So I think just keeping on working in the same field.
In your daily work, what is your favorite part? And then what is on the contrast is there any part that isn't as enjoyable about it?
My favorite thing is being able to be present during births. So you not just births, but honestly, any surgery where the patient is going to need to be awake, any kind of procedure. I've seen surgeries on eyes, C-sections, the whole thing. And to be kind of like standing right there in that moment and experiencing that, being able to help somebody through it, that I don't think that that feeling is replaceable. But kind of on the flip side of that coin, it's also heartbreaking at times when you have to deliver bad news or when you lose a patient, and you have to be really, really emotionally resilient during those moments. You're not allowed by the code of ethics for interpreters. You're not allowed really to display emotion, and that's really tough.
What was the very first job you ever had, and what did you learn from that, as a stepping stone to where you are now?
I started working at Mi Ranchito, a small Mexican restaurant on 95th in Lenexa. And what I learned from there is that you can really achieve anything you set your mind to. I was, 16, maybe 15 when I started working, and it's just important to remember to take things slowly and to really just believe in yourself.
And then what did your educational pathway that you took, what did it look like?
Funny enough, I had no idea what I was doing in college. I was kind of just going through my general education credits, getting those knocked out. I knew that I wanted to do something. I just didn't know what it was. And I stumbled upon Johnson County Community College. They have a program specifically for Spanish medical interpreting. And that immediately caught my eye. They also have a program for Spanish interpreting in the court settings, so legal settings and all that kind of stuff. And it just really, I had already been kind of interpreting for my parents, which I think is something that a lot of Latino kids will find themselves doing when they're your age. So I just jumped in head first, and I believe it's 2 semesters, maybe 2 semesters and a half, I'm not sure. But essentially you get started with them, and at the end of the program, you're accredited, you're licensed, you can interpret wherever. And they do have a partnership with Truman Medical Centers, where you go in and first you shadow their medical interpreters on staff, and then afterwards you do your own practicum there. So not only are you getting to watch them, you're eventually actually interpreting for patients firsthand. And that's really where my career took off. I was employed by Truman Medical Centers right after I graduated because I had been part of that program. So I think there's also other programs like Bridging the Gap that are excellent in the area, and students can look to for resources. They will train you and employ you. I don't know all the details, but that's an amazing program as well.
Yeah. So this is more of a broad question. What is your definition of success?
My definition of success is waking up every day and feeling like I have the resources to do what I want to do and being authentically myself. And I would say that this career path definitely facilitated reaching that point. I can tell you so many times that I have been able to fall back on my degree, on being able to jump up and say, hey, I have the qualifications to do this. It's opened up pathways to higher pay. It's opened up pathways to moving on up in companies. You're able to do freelance work. So just going back to the question, just waking up every day feeling happy and like you can be satisfied with what you're doing with yourself.
Self-fulfillment.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what can students do now to help them prepare to get a job in this field in the future?
Study. You can study, literally go on Google and just look up medical terms and translate them, interpret them, put on subtitles on movies and just try to interpret along as they're speaking English or as they're speaking Spanish or whatever language a bilingual student may speak. But yeah, just studying and really working hard at it. It's not something that like, it's kind of like riding a bike, you know, you could probably pick it up after not doing it for a long time, but it's better to just keep on doing it.
Yeah. So I think that will conclude this interview. I would like to thank you for for speaking and discussing how you have been successful in your career field. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for the opportunity, and I hope that it gets to help somebody out.
Yeah.